Hands tore at ripe fruit high in the canopy as the small band of early hominins fed in haste, branches swaying under their combined weight. Leaves shook, stems snapped, and half-eaten figs rained down as they worked quickly, knowing the ground below was no longer empty. A sudden tremor ran through the trunk. Something heavy moved beneath them. One of the adults clutched a child to her chest, pulling the infant close as the tree shuddered again. Staying aloft had once meant safety. Now even the trees felt uncertain. A sharp crack split the air as a distant limb collapsed. The sound rolled across the woodland edge and into the open savanna beyond, where tall grass rippled like water. The group froze. A leopard emerged from the shadows below, eyes lifted, body coiled. It did not climb. It waited. Hunger had learned patience. The band shifted uneasily, glancing toward the open land they feared and the tree that could no longer protect them. One by one they began to descend, not leaping, not fleeing, but testing the earth with cautious feet. The first to step down straightened instinctively, spine lifting, arms free to balance. Dust coated his soles. The grass brushed his knees. Nothing struck him. The leopard snarled and backed away, confused by upright shapes and sudden movement. The others followed, clutching stones and branches, forming a tight knot around the young. It was not running that saved them, it was standing, moving together, appearing larger than they were. The predator slipped back into shade and the group moved on, hearts pounding, breath shallow. They crossed the woodland boundary into open savanna, where the sun pressed hard and the horizon offered no shelter. Hunger drove them forward. A dry riverbed cut the land, its cracked mud promising water somewhere beyond. As they walked, one of the elders stumbled, foot twisted on uneven ground, pain bent her low. Without trees to lean on, she nearly fell. Two others steadied her, arms hooked under hers, redistributing weight. Walking together became survival. By midday, vultures circled ahead, signaling a carcass. The band approached cautiously, stones ready. A fallen antelope lay torn open, ribs exposed. Hyenas watched from a distance, pacing, testing resolve. The hominins advanced upright, arms raised, stones clacked together. The hyenas retreated, laughing calls fading. Quickly the group worked, stones struck bone, marrow cracked free, fat smeared onto fingers and faces. The elder with the injured foot sat apart, chewing leaves with bitter sap and pressing the pulp against swollen flesh. Pain eased enough to stand again. Then came the second danger. Shapes moved in the grass, another band, similar yet different, approaching from downwind. Scarred bodies, wary eyes, stones in hand. Both groups halted. Neither could afford a fight, yet neither would yield food easily. The tension stretched until thunder broke it. Dark clouds surged overhead, wind flattening grass, dust stinging eyes. Rain followed in sheets, sudden and violent. The land transformed in moments. Water rushed through the dry riverbed, roaring alive. The carcass was abandoned. Both bands scattered as lightning struck nearby, the crack splitting sky and earth. In the chaos, a child slipped from a mother's grasp, sliding toward the rising water. Instinct overruled fear. One adult lunged upright into the torrent, legs braced wide, arms outstretched. Others followed, forming a living chain, gripping wrists and hides. The child was hauled back, soaked but alive, pressed against warm bodies as rain battered them all. The rival band vanished into the storm. The hominins turned toward higher ground, driven by water and exhaustion. They reached a cluster of rocks where shallow caves opened like dark mouths. Inside, they huddled, shivering, rain drumming outside. The injured elder was laid against stone. Leaves were chewed again, packed onto her foot, bound with strips of hide. Fire was impossible, but bodies provided warmth. The storm passed slowly, leaving silence behind. At dawn, the savanna gleamed clean. Grass bowed under droplets, the river flowed steadily now, a ribbon of life. The group emerged stiff and sore but alive. They followed the water's edge, learning as they went, where footing was firm, where snakes hid. Where fruit trees bent low enough to reach without climbing. Walking upright freed their hands, to carry food, to support the weak, to hold the young. By evening, they reached a rise overlooking endless grassland threaded with trails. Here no tree offered refuge, yet no single predator owned the space either. The band settled close, sharing marrow saved from the carcass, smearing fat onto cracked skin. The child laughed softly, splashing fingers in shallow water pooled between stones. The elder stood again, leaning on another's shoulder, pain dulled. They slept under open sky for the first time, bodies curled together, stars cold and distant above. The trees stood far behind them now, silhouettes against the horizon. Leaving them had been terrifying, costly, and necessary. In that first night on the ground, bound by touch and movement rather than branches, the band discovered a new way to endure. Not by climbing higher, but by standing together